Hi, my name is Sip Mendes. Today we're going to make a wine bottle stopper with a natural wood edge. I have a customer in Oakland, California that requests this. She sells very rustic looking items in her shop, and so she wants things that have that rustic look. We'll go over to the lathe and I'll show you how to make this. The first thing you're going to need for this project is a piece of tree branch. This one is about 1.5 inches in diameter, and you're only going to need about 2.5 inches. I'm going to mark my blank at 2.5 inches, and I want to cut it perpendicular to the center of the branch. I put a small shim under my blank to make the top level. I have a 9/32 drill bit, and I'm going to drill down 1 inch in the center. Using my 5/16 tap, I'm going to go ahead and thread this hole. It makes it much easier to mount it on the mandrel. My turning mandrel for bottle stoppers is homemade. I made it from a 3-inch faceplate, a piece of yellow pine, and a piece of purple heart. And then I centered and drilled a 5/16 shaft through it. Go ahead and mount my blank. Bring up my tailstock. And go ahead and get it centered. I'm going to start with a 3/8 detail gouge. I have my face shield on, and I'm going to spin it at 900 RPMs. This is the stopper end, so I'm going to taper it down almost to my mandrel. The other end, I'm going to start flattening it out, and I'm actually going to shorten it. I'm going to make a sort of a step on the stopper end so I can make a small cove. top I'm going to shorten and make a sort of a dome top. I'm going to add just a little bit more detail. Using my skew, I'm going to add a little ring near the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and remove the tailstock. I'm going to go ahead and remove this section here. Using my skew, I'm going to go ahead and refine the shape of the top slightly. I'm going to add a small decorative ring. I'm ready to sand my stopper. I'll only sand the top and this tapered end. I do not want to disturb the bark at all. Then I'll give it a coat of sanding sealer. I sanded my stopper with 100, 150, 220, and 320 grit sandpaper. I'm ready to give it a coat of sanding sealer. This is a lacquer-based sanding sealer. It dries in about 30 minutes. I'm going to cover the bed of my lathe with a piece of cloth to protect against drips. I want to coat the bark, and I want to make sure I get deep into the cracks, because the sanding sealer will help keep the bark on, keep it from peeling. And as you can tell, it also darkens it. It brings out some of the color in the wood. Not as much as clear, but it does help. I'm going to remove the excess sanding sealer because it tends to get a foggy, cloudy. I'm going to let that dry for about 30 minutes. When you use sanding sealer, Always make sure you have adequate ventilation. The bottle stopper has had about 30 minutes to dry. I'm going to go ahead and resand it with 220 and 320 sandpaper, and then I'll start giving it coats of polyurethane. Using a small piece of cloth, I'm going to go ahead and wipe on 2 coats of polyurethane. I'll let this coat dry about an hour, and then I'll give it a second coat. I have my almost finished wood stopper. I gave it 2 coats of polyurethane varnish. It has a nice shine to it. If you want these to look more rustic, should have used a satin finish. I'm going to mix up some epoxy. I'll put a little bit. Put a little bit in the hole here. I'm going to put a little bit on the stem and threads. Push these together. And wipe off any excess. And there's my final stopper. Thank you for watching.